What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude, and today in the house we have the second part of the Home and Home series with the Nothing But Respect podcast. If you missed the first episode, we did it on their feed. That was one of my favorite episodes that we've done. We've gone on your podcast a few times. It's always a great time. We have Harry, who everyone knows he's been on the podcast before, and for the first time, we have Patrick in the house as well. What's going on, guys?
How are you? Yeah, if you want 35 minutes of us going through SEC filings of Luka Garza's dad's company, and then I think that's the podcast for you.
That is the best advertisement you could possibly give. I don't know if you guys saw the AI-generated chapter on Spotify, but I'm sure Harry saw this. I'm not sure if Patrick saw it. But the first AI-generated chapter on the episode that we did was unpacking Jeffrey Epstein's emails and Luka Garza's Celtics connection. So,
well, that is an accurate summation of what
that's
happened.
why the planet is dying, and also that is completely, absolutely accurate, and something that I think will get everyone that listens to this podcast to go listen to that podcast. So, yesterday when we were on your guys' podcast, we did the fun, good vibes teams. We talked about a few young and up and coming teams like the Rockets and the Pistons, and we're going to do the complete opposite today, which is the bad vibes team draft. Now, I left it up to interpretation for you guys. I think we all know a few teams that are pretty obvious here. You can also pick players, different iterations of teams as well, but I just wanted to lead with Patrick. Patrick, since it's your first time on the podcast, and since you are a fan of a team, our listeners might not know yet, but you can explain who you will be taking with the first pick in the Bad Vibes draft.
This is like a Wembanyama level lottery where, like, if you get the number one pick in this draft, there's like such an obvious selection. And it's just like, it's really an honor to be able to build my team around, of course, the 3-11 Sacramento Kings, the pride, the Paris of the Delta, the pride of the Central Valley. Has turned out one of the biggest pieces of shit I can remember. Like, it's one thing to be bad. Like, a lot of teams are bad. It's another thing to be old. Like, a lot of teams are old. It's like entirely another to be bad and old with a specific constellation of players that is like flamed out in like the exact same formation like 5 years before in a totally different franchise. It's like, they have built one of the funniest and most evil basketball teams 2 short years after, like, I guess 3 short years after the Beam year. Like, just a remarkable disassembly to this roster where no one can pass or shoot or defend, which are like the 3 most important things. It's all just kind of like real Hooper bullshit. Guys taking like 7 dribbles, or like Sabonis pump faking his way into getting blocked at the rim every single time. Dennis Schroeder had a recent run where he went 1 for 19 over like 3 or 4 games and lost his starting spot to Russell Westbrook, who's on a minimum and is somehow the best player in the team. They have their pick, thank God. And what the entire fan base is begging for them to do is just like tank and tank. But like, the one thing you can say is that they have built a bad enough roster intended to win that they might successfully tank on accident.
This is actually something that Jack, who's a Kings fan, he's big on TikTok and Twitter. He had a whole idea behind when all these signings were happening. We talked about it a little bit before we recorded the podcast yesterday. You could see it coming from a mile away, but it still became exactly what we would thought it would be, but maybe even worse in application. And Jack talked about this the whole offseason, which was like, is Scott Perry bad at his job? Or is it more so that it's not necessarily that Scott Perry is bad at his job? It might be the fact he's actually going to ownership and saying, look, we'll sign these players, the Dennis Schroeders, the Russell Westbrooks, but it's actually a genius plan to sneak tank.
Yeah.
He knows that ownership sees the big names. He knows none of this will work together. He knows none of the pieces of the puzzle fit here because it's all guys who need the ball. It's like you said, none of the guys do role player shit other than maybe Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis, who, by the way, Keon Ellis, possibly the perfect encapsulation. I mean, the real perfect encapsulation is everything that happened before this with Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox and all that. But
Davion Mitchell now starring for the surprising and beloved Miami Heat, who
incredible.
They traded a second-round pick to get off of Davion Mitchell's rookie deal
Well, so they traded a second round pick to get off of his rookie deal. And then he ended up within a year on the only team in the NBA that Davion Mitchell could possibly ever be good on.
Beautiful.
Which it's like if
he was a star in plain sight, though. I think some podcasts have said this.
Wow.
Within the last 2 to 3 years, some podcasts have said that Davion Mitchell would be a star.
Well, much. Actually, Harry and Davion have a lot in common in that they're under 6 feet, but are like crazy good at point guard stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes,
they both got that dog in them. You know, that's really all you need. Eventually, you can get by on just wanting it more, especially if you end up on the Heat. I literally had a tweet from the day he got traded to the Heat, and I said, "You all realize that this is the only team that he could be good on, and this is going to happen."
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because the thing, like the defining thing about the Kings players on the court is that none of them want it at all, except for Russ, and like. You will watch them just like go through, like they play this zone defense. This is like my favorite thing to do or to watch when they're like, the man isn't working, let's go to zone. And they have a like 7th graders understanding of zone where they just stand in their assigned spots. But then like the other team will like pass the ball once and then they're all like, wait. I didn't think that was allowed to happen. Sorry, Harry, I cut you off.
No, that's all. I one thing on the Westbrook thing, because he does, quote unquote, want it, but it is one of these, like, he is sort of an abstraction on top of an abstraction on top of an abstraction, which is like he wants to win so badly, but I'm not entirely sure he knows ultimately what team he's on. He is like Westbrook Industries needs to dominate the game, but like it's not, and like winning is sort of one part of the large constellation that could be a part of making that a reality.
There's a Jay Electronica lyric on his latest project that he dropped called I believe the song is called "Who Killed Michael Jackson" with 7 question marks after it, and he says on there, "I'm not even a human being anymore, I'm just energy." That is Russell Westbrook in a nutshell. Is that he is just a energetic vibe. That's all he is. Now, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good or bad. It's completely unpredictable. There are multiple players on this team because with DeRozan and Levine and Sabonis, you kind of know what you're going to get, right? Like with DeMar, you're going to get a guy who caps your ceiling because he wants to take the most mid-rangers that anyone has taken since Kobe Bryant in any given game, which is just going to make your shot profile all fucked up. With Sabonis, you have to surround him with defenders and shooting, which they have not done at all. Levine, and he's going to play bully ball, 1980 style basketball, just like his father. And then if you look at someone like Levine, like we always joke, like Levine is the most efficient scorer in NBA history that might just be completely irrelevant. Like he is basically, like every time you see like the most efficient scorers in the NBA, it's like Jokic, Giannis, like, and then Levine's up there, and then every year his teams are bad. But the other wild card other than Russell Westbrook on this team is Dennis Schroeder, who has been terrible so far this year, but he is, in my opinion, the most unpredictable player in the NBA, depending on year and team that he goes to. Because if he goes to, like, for example, he played for Sam Celtics, and I don't believe he had any success there. But then he goes to, like, the Pistons, and he has success. He goes to the Nets, and he has success. He went to the Warriors last year and was just a mess. And he was never going to work with this iteration of the Kings, but he truly is the most random wild card player I think that we've ever seen in the NBA. I have never have any idea what he's going to be on any given year.
Well, and you know the old saying, if you get a bunch of wild cards together, good things can only happen at that point in time. So I applaud the team building. It's really inspired team building from the Kings in many ways. I mean, I will say though, like, let's pretend that we are a general manager who is being held hostage by having one of the worst bosses of all time. How would you go about tanking while seemingly not ignoring the mandate you've been given to win that is just not feasible?
This is exactly what I just said, which is basically that they are building a team out of players that and players that seemingly will get people to go to the games and will if you're an idiot, you would think this basketball team was awesome, right? Like if you're just like, you were just like, if you're a guy that consumes basketball solely through your TikTok feed and highlights, you would be like, oh, they're going to win 55 games and like make the Western Conference Finals. But anyone that understands what modern basketball is knows that this was never going to work from the start of the season. And like you said, like, if you're the GM, like the best way to sneak tank is just to build this team where the sum of the parts is just all off.
And because you said this team was designed to fool an idiot, okay? And I think this team was designed to fool one very specific idiot, and his name is Vivek Ranadive. So I do think that this is kind of a genius move from like a GM that understands that they need to like get real like talent in the door, and did it in such a way that he had like covering fire. So
in amazing fashion, next year we look at all these teams that are kind of in piss and shit that we'll talk about today, and none of them have their picks. In amazing fashion, the Kings actually held on to their draft pick in this amazing top 3, which, by the way, their history, we know their history. I think the last time that they picked in the top 3 was Marvin Bagley.
Say his name. Getting backup center minutes on the 1-12 Washington Wizards.
Incredible.
The one thing I will say about Scott Perry is that he tweets once a week and he never misses a week. And it's always a hashtag Monday motivation. The most recent, I have it here, says, don't limit your opportunities by having preconceived notions as to whether something is possible or not. Use your mind's unlimited potential to embrace new concepts and situations. Amazing. That's basically him saying, like, guys, I've tricked Vivek. I've implemented the Sam method. Everything's fine. Don't worry.
Stay woke.
Patriots, stand down.
Yeah, the Patriots are in control.
One of the things that we will, I think, come up a lot as we go through these teams is GMs of big giant organizations are they're just people. Like they're just like stupid people sometimes. Guys. Patrick in a great Kings blog a week ago like had this paragraph in there about like, you know, you assume that the people running these NBA organizations like know more than us. And a lot of the time when I was younger, that is always what I assumed. As I have gotten older, I am like getting more to the point. I'm like, do I know, if not enough about basketball, but like, do I have like the like plasticity of brain that would allow me to make trades that these people can't figure out?
No, I actually, it's a great point because we have a friend who is actually, he respects Matt Ishbia because he runs the Suns very similar to how he would as a fan, where it's just like, wait, Kevin Durant's available? Like, just go do whatever it takes to go get Kevin Durant. And then a few months later, it's like, well, we could get Bradley Beal, but like, it will cost us everything we have left. And it's like, but like, you would have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal in the same
NBA 2K21 controller. He's
like, exactly.
We could get Bradley Beal.
There is something charming about that.
Yeah, well, I love that he is kind of like the Neil Gorsuch of like the NBA ownership group too, because like he's like really like progressive in like fan like pricing and stuff like that. Like he's kind of like, you know how like Gorsuch every time he gets a Native American like thing, he's like doing land acknowledgements, and then like the second it's not about that, he's like, yeah, and kill all poor people also. But like that is Matt Ishbia like with the Suns, and I think we're onto something here with the idea that he is our most fan-brained owner by and large. So
I do have a question. Has anyone shown up to a Kings game this year with hashtag no Kings on a sign, Patrick?
Honestly, someone should. I mean, I don't live in Sacramento. I have attended one game. And it was the one that they gave up 144 to the Wolves that first started the like Keon Ellis chants that was sort of like the beginning of people acknowledging that the bad times were here. Honestly, the sad thing is that like no one like gives a fuck enough to really like buy the ticket to make that protest. Everyone's just sort of like, well, season's dead. Like we'll see how they do in the lottery, and our real playoffs are lottery day. That's pretty much it.
It's really a shame because I just remember one of my favorite memories that since we started doing the podcast was after Keegan Murray's summer league debut, and they ran out saying they were going to win 50 games, and we all kind of laughed at them. And they were right. They won like almost 50 games that year, if I remember correctly. They were the 3 seed in an admittedly weak Western Conference.
That was a Mickey Mouse 3 seed. Yeah,
for
Everyone
sure.
got
For
hurt.
sure. We always have one Mickey Mouse top seed. I'm gonna say, I'm just for my own personal safety, I won't say the team that I think it is this year. In the NBA,
Oklahoma
because
City Thunder.
yeah,
He's flashing. You can't see on the camera, but he's holding up a notepad that reads that.
I am deathly afraid of the fans of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and certainly not an entire nation that sits right above us. But
Yeah,
the
okay, they haven't had any traumatic sports losses recently. I'm sure they're mellowed out right now.
well, that maybe the fans in Sacramento were just so preoccupied with having, you know, 1 year of the A's in a minor league baseball stadium.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up the light the beam as part of what's sort of like hanging over this cursed situation in Sacramento, because I was thinking about the this is sort of a deep cut. I'm curious where you guys will land on this, but in one of the middle seasons of Game of Thrones, there's this whole plot of like the one of the guys getting kidnapped, and then he like escapes the Bolton Castle, and he's like, there's like a 20-minute thing where he's like running through the jungle, he's escaped, but it turned out the entire escape had been orchestrated by the guy who had him locked up, just to sort of like double down on this, like give him a flash of hope, only to like further increase his sort of imprisonment.
Yeah.
The light the beam season felt a little bit like that. Like you guys were stepping out into the great outdoors. You had a smell of freedom. You had your very own end of game exciting thing where everybody would like smash the beam, only to have that completely, like, you guys are just back in jail. It's like that never happened.
Yeah, the Ramsey Bolton did kind of hunt you guys down and throw Theon Greyjoy right back in jail.
And the analogy works so well because in each subsequent season after the first beam season, they have increased the brightness of the beam. Like this year is the brightest beam yet. From my dad's house in Sac, you could like kind of see it the first year, and now it's like even on a cloudy day, you're like, there's the beam, except it doesn't exist anymore. It's like it's such a perfect analogy.
2030, the Eye of Sauron will just be casting its withering gaze down upon
twice a year.
The worse the team gets, the brighter the beam gets, is like such an amazing bit to just continue for this franchise. But
they only have a certain amount of allocated wattage because of AI. They can only access so much electricity, so they have to spread out the electricity. But when there's only one win, you can burn it all. And like,
of course, we need our Spotify generated chapters to be powered. The thing I wanted to ask you, just the last thing on the Kings here, this kind of fever dream of a team, the Keon Ellis situation, because Keon Ellis is someone who, like I said earlier, is kind of the perfect encapsulation of what the Kings are doing as just mismanagement, basically. Like you acquire all these guards that play the same position as this player that isn't like super young. Like Keon's like 25 going on 26, but like certainly anytime he's been on the court, the Kings have been better because he just provides such a specific skill set that these kind of teams that have ball dominant players and creators need, which is he plays off the ball and he moves the ball and he shoots and he plays defense. And that is just such a foreign concept to what the Kings have built with this team. Two questions on this. One, do you think they end up just trading Keon because they did not come to a contract extension with him? And two, if you're going in this direction, if you do end up keeping Keon, you're going in this direction where you're potentially tanking before this draft. Wouldn't he be someone that would fit great with a top pick next year? Like, no matter who you get, like as a normal role player, wouldn't you want to hold on to that guy in theory?
Yeah, I mean, like you said it there, like the stuff that makes Keon valuable is like he's aware of what year it is, and he's like the only guy on the roster besides maybe Nate Clifford who like has like appears to have watched the 24-25 playoffs. Like is the one guy who doesn't need the ball, is like the one guy who knows how to like play defense. And I think you can chalk some of this to Doug Christie, like kind of not really knowing what he's doing and just doing the young coach thing of just playing all of his vets. But like Mike Brown also had this like inexplicable thing for not playing Keon Ellis. So like, I don't really fully understand what the deal there is. As for an extension, one of the funniest Kingsy things is that like for months, either just like the beat reporters weren't clear or the organization itself was not clear whether or not he was immediately extension eligible or it wasn't until February. Like every few weeks, contradictory reports would emerge, which is like such a funny thing to do for like a player who like you have signed. He's only played for your team. I like if I was a smart team, I would try to trade for him. The only issue is like he's on like a $2 million deal. So like unless the Kings are just getting back like a guy who sucks and like a bad first round pick or something, then I don't really see anything. But like you said, like he fits alongside everyone. I mean, he is very tiny. Like I remember when they played the Celtics last year, Jaylen Brown was just like, I'm going to beat the shit out of that guy. And he had like 20 first quarter points. So
Sure.
like he can get picked on, but he's not the solution to every problem, but like he at least is the solution to like every problem that currently exists on the team.
Right, exactly. I was gonna say he's just like every once in a while you'll go through like impact metrics and it's like, man, this guy's on off is like crazy. And it's like, oh yeah, that's just because this guy is the only normal basketball player on the team. And that is, like you said, he plays modern basketball. But I would imagine my thing with the Keon thing is I totally agree with you, especially the low salary. That's another thing that I've had. I saw a report, which I don't, apparently this reporter has mixed reports that come out about the team, but it was basically that they could potentially blow this thing up after this doesn't work. And I just look at their roster and I'm like, what trades are there to be made? Like
Who want me 0%. Yeah. None of these guys are done.
You could go down everyone on the roster and have the who want me 0% be. Like it is legitimately like we just saw Zach LaVine get salary dumped. DeMar DeRozan, no one wanted him when he was better 2 years ago and was a free agent. So Bonus is the only one that I could imagine, even though he makes probably a little bit too much money. He's the only one that I could see like the classic Bill Simmons challenge trade, where it's like your whatever player that you don't want for my player that we don't want style trade. But otherwise, like I don't really see anyone on this. And you're not trading Keegan and you're not trading Neek. It's to me, it's just, it really makes no, like going into a rebuild just means letting these guys expire, except for maybe Sabonis.
Yeah. And like, as we've sort of laid out with Scott Perry's master plan, the one redeeming factor is like, they might just be bad enough that they might not even have to trade their veterans to tank. Like they could just sit there and watch it implode on its own terms. So
right. That's always the funniest when a team is like, we're going into the tank and then they trade a player and their team makes more sense after that. And then they're like, oh no, we accidentally won 12 games down the stretch. But look, with the new lottery odds, it doesn't matter. Like you're going to be one of the 10 worst teams in the NBA. You'll give yourself a shot at getting a top 3 pick in this upcoming draft. All right, Harry, you were on the clock in the Bad Vibes team draft. Who are you taking?
Before I jump into that, I just want to say Keon Ellis for Bones Highland, who says no.
He's on a 2-way, I think. I don't even think he has a real contract.
I would love that. As a sort of dark woke Wolves fan, I think that would be incredible.
Just another ball dominant player who doesn't play defense, but I'm sure they would love it.
The passing around in the NBR group chats, the Bones Highland being like, yeah, Rob Dillingham reminds me of a young me quote that he said at the beginning of the season. Really,
the meanest thing you've ever said about someone.
Okay, no, but so for my pick, the last time I came on here, I said that the New Orleans Pelicans would be good and that the trade was possibly even defendable. I am now going to select them as the second.
In your defense, what you actually said was that Derek Queen was going to be awesome.
I did, yes. No,
and look, I don't know what he's going to be as an NBA player, but there's no denying that Derek Queen is awesome.
Yeah, totally. And he's been fun. He's had a number of like incredible highlights, and I actually do think that he is showing the type of modern big man, at least offensively, that there's a bit of a runway of building teams around. It is also important to note that he just like right now as a player stinks. He is so bad at defense. He has no idea where he is supposed to be at all times, which again is like, he's a 20-year-old end of the lottery, like rookie. That's about on a big man rookie center. Like that's about on pace for him. But it's just like all these highlights are forgetting the fact that he has this hilarious combination of not knowing where to be, not being athletic enough to contend, and not really wanting to either. It's like an incredible trio. But no, I do think he's good, and I actually think Fears is pretty good too. He's like been able to.
Once again, very fun players. I don't know if they are going to be players that like impact winning or whatever in the long term. I had them in I did my tiers for the draft, right? And I had a tier for them that was legitimately just boom or bust. And it was those two, because I was just like, I have no idea what to do with these guys. They're very clearly talented. Like Fear's first step is nasty. He can get into the paint at will. He has that sick little like pop shot off one leg that he does, like fade away. He's great. Queen has every, like the vibe test with him is off the charts, positive. Everything else with the team, vibes wise, is just very strange and is basically just a product, as we talked about on the podcast yesterday, of a team that probably just shouldn't really exist because of their ownership group. Like they have completely ignored this team. I talked about it a little bit yesterday on your guys' podcast, which was that they don't even have a marketing and promotions calendar anymore. They have famously always kind of shared resources with the Saints, who they also own. They're very clearly like, we hear consistently about how like high school football is bigger in New Orleans than the Pelicans are. It is really a shame, as we've talked about kind of time and time again with this team. They deserve a better team, and they might be headed in that direction, but certainly the draft night trade is not helping when we're seeing how great these prospects are, and they just need a life raft in any possible way that would really have benefited them in this upcoming draft.
Yeah, it's almost like not, their young guys are almost the bright spot,
Yes.
Like it is like a they continue to be, I mean, we've talked about the Pelicans at length because we have shared DNA and friends who love the Pelicans, and B, because
we're going to New Orleans every year.
We go to New Orleans.
Join us.
Year. We love the thing, but like, it's also just because they are like fucking fascinating. Like, that Zion, like it all kind of top down flows down from Zion, who again, clearly talented, cannot play a game, like, all this stuff. They seem to be cursed. They keep getting players who are talented. They have Herb Jones. They have Trey Murphy. They have these guys who are fascinating and interesting. Like they're a team that, like, outside of this trade has not necessarily been run like badly, but it all just kind of like blows up in their face. Like, I don't think they're like necessarily like have been like they haven't been a good front office, but I don't think they've been like one of the worst front offices. And it's certainly not a 1-to-1 with like the amount of success that they've had.
I've argued that I actually think the Pelicans coaching job is the best in the NBA because you don't have to be good at your job. Willie Green was terrible for 2.5 years. You have no pressure to win. You have no mandate from ownership to make the playoffs or the play-in, and you get to live in New Orleans, which is a really cool fucking city, and you get to chill, basically. Like, your job is so cake relative to the stress and like, imagine coaching the New York Knicks. Like, every day of your life is hell. Like, the expectations, the media market. Living in New York is cool, especially if you have money, but it's just so, from a quality of life standpoint, compared to something like just chilling in New Orleans where no one really gives a fuck, and like, as long as your wife is best friends with the owner, like Willie Green's wife was, and you're a good Christian man, you can have the job for as long as you want. I don't know if you guys saw this. Every week we have a new insane story that comes out about the Pelicans.
I was going to bring some of this up. I think we're about to talk about the same thing.
Is this the David Griffin wasn't able to fire?
Well, in this John Hollinger piece, there's all kinds of funny things, but go ahead with this and I'll tell you some of the other.
So from what I understand, twice David Griffin, the previous general manager, tried to fire Willie Green, and ownership stepped in and said, no, we're too close with his wife. And basically he's a good Christian man and we cannot fire him. So if you are to now, being the GM there might kind of suck because you're kind of very similar to the Kings. You have to serve to ownership, but the coach just seems very like, low pressure and all upside.
There's a funny thing I think going on in New Orleans, which is that because there's so much kind of like wild, like bitch you live like this type stuff going on in New Orleans, except a part of that is, and this is a larger trend in media, but it seems to be seriously affecting New Orleans, is like there's also no local press corps. So like nobody is really covering the fuck shit that's going on. So it's like not
literally like friend of the podcast, Shamit Dua, who is doing a Substack, is like the most like advanced version of their media locally.
Right. And so like this stuff only disseminates when like, a Hollinger or whoever comes in.
Sure.
And a few great excerpts from the Hollinger piece that he just dropped. One, and this is to all this point. It's telling that the Pelicans couldn't even get around to greenlighting the firing from Green until the Saints were on a bye week.
They said, wait, hold on. We need to let Tyler Show cook or whatever. Shove. I don't fucking know his name. We need to let him cook.
Who are 2-8. Like they all...
Yeah, it's not like they're good. Yeah. It's not like they have to be like locked in on the Saints. The Saints and the Pelicans have the same amount of wins right now. So I just everything that's functioning with the Pelicans is truly a fever dream right now. I do think that the thing with the Pelicans is like beyond all the little stuff that we've talked about with the draft night trade and everything, them just not being able to win games. Like every time I'm like, all right, they're 2-6, but like their schedule got to get easier soon, right? And then I look at it, it's like Nuggets, Thunder. I'm like, holy shit, like this is just going to keep getting worse. I wonder with them, like, what is the way to like, because we've seen so many different iterations of the Pelicans. What is the way to rewrite the vibes and like get this thing on track ever? Because no matter what they do, like watching Brandon Ingram and the Raptors doing what they're doing right now was just like demonic. Once again, it's very similar. It's very Kings coded in that, like, not that Brandon Ingram is close to the level of player that like Tyrese Halliburton is, or that the Raptors are going to be as successful as the Pacers, but like seeing a player get away from you and like, at least so far, play some of the best basketball that he's played in years with a seemingly normal team to start this year, it just feels like no matter what they do, they're kind of cooked.
I mean, I think that we are in an era where the sort of like God-given skill gap is really small. And so what makes the difference is stuff like preparation and, investment in players over time, of which all of this technology has gotten like, it's more and more easy for a team that wants to sink a robust amount of money into the collective growth of their organization's on-court performance. Like you can actually do that. You can get that stupid app that tracks every single shot your players takes. Like that is available for you if you want it. Most of the teams do that because they think it's a good idea to invest in the on-court performance of their team. And when the Pelicans don't, like, I think the Zion test case, like, I think if he goes to like 20 other teams, he's a functional NBA player.
It's like the opposite of the Davion Mitchell thing where it's like there's only one team he can succeed on. Like Zion can succeed on half of the teams in the league. It's just, can you get him to, stop Googling things? And also, can you get him just to be healthy for a little bit? It's actually very funny because just talking about like the organizational goal stuff and like the way that they treat, the facilities and the arena and stuff. Someone was like, oh, you guys went to the Smoothie King Center. Isn't it a dump? And I was like, I mean, me and Sam, like Andrew got us VIP tickets. They were probably like $30. And we got to like, I had like a glass of wine. I don't even drink anymore, but I had a glass of wine because I was like, we're there. Like I'm not gonna not do this.
You're gonna be a smoothie king.
Yeah, like we were Smoothie Kings for a night. We could be Smoothie Kings just for one day. So we actually got to live like literally an experience that I would never be able to afford in any other NBA arena for one night, because that's just the state of the franchise right now.
And by the way, everyone was like locked in. Trill and I were talking about this. We were watching Sixers, Hospital Pelicans. Like some of the players that were on I think Justin Edwards was on the floor.
Jalen Hood-Schifino, Marcus Bagley, not Marvin Bagley.
Yeah,
who played very briefly for the Sixers. There are players that, like after you do like you watch your team for a full season and then you can do like a Sporkle quiz and it's like name all the players that were on your team. Yeah. There were 5 players that I didn't remember that were on the Sixers when I did it a few weeks ago. Like I watch every game and I literally couldn't even remember some of these players.
It was fascinating how few and everyone was locked in. You know what I'm saying? It's not a it's not like a referendum on like, because a lot of people like New Orleans is like a football city. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. People seem pretty engaged with the basketball team. It's like pretty much the same thing. Again, I think it's, to Harry's point from earlier, I think it's more about like they're busy like giving money to private investigators like, hey, can you make this Catholic Church thing go away? And then instead of like buying like Gribble, the Dale Gribble style automated tracking data that will do King of the Hill quotes if you hit your thing. Like that's the things that they're investing in, and other things. And like meanwhile, I don't know, Gail Benson just throws like 900 fucking Red Robin like half off things into the locker room on her way by. And I think that is probably like a pretty big part of this, because like I think there's just not investment in infrastructure, and that's why all these like terrible things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to like say culture like necessarily, but when people are talking about culture, that's really what they're talking about, is like the team like infrastructure. Money, are you a serious professional organization? And I think that just they aren't like, and I don't think it's anybody's fault but like ownership, really. So
yeah, they treat it like a chore more than like something that they probably don't make nearly as much money off the franchise as they want to, and it's just like a little, it's basically just a little side venture for them to own an NBA team. It's more of a a task for them than anything else. Patrick, any thoughts on the Pelicans before we move on?
I love Jeremiah Fears. It's awesome. And like, I think Harry's point is a very good one, because I will watch these Queen highlights and people talk about Derek Queen as if he's being like so crazily disrespected. And there actually is like Nikola Jokic on the court, and it's just literally based on his highlights. It's like kind of the same way they talk about like Cam Whitmore. And it's like, that's not a good thing when that's happening.
Well, Cam Whitmore, by the way, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. He is from the DMV. So he, within the calendar year, will be a New Orleans Pelican. That is... Well,
totally.
That if you have some sort of connection, he already plays for the Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
We got Jordan Poole.
Yeah, it's all the check boxes you need to play.
Troy Weaver, he's setting up the trade right now as we speak. Funny enough, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I think they're actually playing the worst player in the NBA this year, which really does not go discuss that much. Because to me, I kind of remove rookies and even sometimes second-year guys from this conversation. But Jordan Hawkins has, I don't know what information he has on the coaching staff, because he is still getting run. And look, maybe James Borrego is going to be able to use him better than Willie Green could. But to start the year, he's shooting 31% from the field, 25% from three. He is averaging 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and he is legitimately crafted. NBA has a congratulations, you're the worst player in the NBA, and Jordan Hawkins is like running away with it. Funny enough, the second worst player in the NBA on their website is Justin Edwards. So
that also seems crazy though, because I feel like Tyus Jones is being slept on in a massive way.
Oh yeah.
But the thing with Tyus Jones is that I don't think that analytics can pick up on how truly disastrous that he can be at times, because, and maybe that's different this year because he just farms the assist to turnover stuff where it's just well, this guy must be good because he has like an 8-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. And you watch the games and you're like, well, he doesn't make difficult passes. He literally is just like, he's always making like the one pass away passes. He's not making like cross court passes or anything insane. He's just a very safe basketball player. But in general, I would agree. I would say, especially because Hawkins is only in his third year, I would say Tyus Jones, at least on a team that matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Bub Carrington, Jordan Hawkins, like these guys are on teams that are entirely irrelevant right now. And like the Magic, we all loved the Magic before the year and like thought they could be like a top 3 or 4 team in the East. And they have just been incredibly underwhelming so far to start the year. And he has been a big part of that. So
Jordan Poole hitting Jordan Hawkins with you remind me of a younger me.
Specifically rookie year me is what I'm thinking of.
Well, he ran away with like, that's the worst NBA campaign anybody's ever done. The Jordan Poole rookie year, which
Jordan Poole, it has such a perfect Pelicans career, really, because I can't remember the last time that a player was the worst player in the NBA and then became good and then was the worst player in the NBA again. Like he really does, like he holds such a special place in my heart because he somehow won a championship, was an important part of a championship team. After, basically the first year and a half, it looked like he was just a no-hoper, basically.
Right.
Turns his career around, gets the bag, and now is just kind of, floating around the league and is now just, in exile in New Orleans. It's really something to admire, in my opinion.
The possibility of the human spirit is a beautiful thing.
Jordan Poole is the example.
Two final things on the Pelicans before we move on. 2 quotes from Michael Scotton on Hoops Hype had a write up with a number of really funny things. One on Willie Green getting fired. Another telling sign about Green's lack of job security was when the organization stopped publicly introducing him at home games.
That was amazing. For like 2 weeks. They just didn't even, they were just like, the players, all right, let's move on.
Yeah. And then Dumars met with members of the staff and preached that he was looking for players with intangibles such as defense, toughness, high IQ, and a high motor, league sources told Hoops Hype a few sentences later. Then, about an hour later, according to league sources, the Pelicans traded for Jordan Poole.
And then drafted Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears, who, look, they're talented.
Some of the most tangible players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Incredible. It is so, God, Troy Weaver is just such an important character. Because I know Dumars is the figurehead. Like, he is not in charge of. Weaver is the one, from everything we've seen that is reported, is really the one behind the scenes doing the dirty work. And I just think he's such an important character in the canon of the modern NBA, because maybe you can see what the Pistons are doing and they just fire him 2 years from now. And then they become the new fun young upstart team after that. You need him to come in and scout and draft for you. And then the second you want to be a serious team, let's move on.
It's like a controlled burn situation.
Yeah, he really is, though, like, kind of like, because people don't talk enough about how like OKC like very quietly also kind of like fucked up the draft for like a couple of years there in the middle, like the Poku era necessarily. Like if you want to go back there.
Well, that wasn't him, to be fair.
Oh, that wasn't him?
No, that was his first draft with the Pistons, which he drafted Killian Hayes, Sadiq Bey, who, funny enough, he reacquired on the Pelicans. By the way, he must
also from the DMV.
Also from the DMV. And by the way, who signed him a year ago before he got traded there? The Washington Wizards, who Troy Weaver was working for at the time. Sadiq Bey is the apple of Troy Weaver's eye, apparently.
He loves him, dude. He loves him so much. He's traded for him like 6 times.
That's his Bey, dude. That's his Bey. Yeah. Only James Wiseman could make it so that he would ever trade away Sadiq Bey. The power of James Wiseman.
Well, my thing there was like, I think if you like go back and you like look at those Oklahoma City like drafts, I think like who was the pick in the before they traded?
I can tell you, Terrence Ferguson.
Terrence Ferguson, yeah. So like, and then you like
campaign. That one wasn't terrible. I mean, campaign was not good for them, but
right. Well, and that's a thing with Troy Weaver is like, these guys they gotta find their second life somewhere else. But the Terrence Ferguson pick, like Josh Eustace, like did he have a hand in the Josh Eustace selection? You zoom in and it's like a fucking Born Supremacy, like enhanced. Oh my God, that's Troy Weaver. Like he was there, like at the scene of the crime of a lot of these things, and it's like very funny that basically since he's left, they've like
He's
not missed in the draft. Like,
the worldwide background of
being mid.
Yeah.
He's just in the background of all the Zapruder film that comes out.
Yeah.
All right, Sam. Now you are up on the board. Who would you like to select in the Bad Vibes draft?
I'd like to sound the alarm on what is, I would say, a constitutional crisis for the NBA, in that this team is bad ahead of schedule, and it threatens to ruin the NBA as we know it. And that is our Los Angeles Clippers.
Yep.
Who are, let's just say, I saw their trajectory. I saw the thing. It's like, okay, so you're going to be bad you're going to like be mid to like, okay, for the next 2 years, you'll give OKC the 21st and 22nd pick in the draft, like this year and next year. Then Kawhi's off the books. And then, you go into the tank. You hope Philly is bad also, so that swap doesn't hurt too bad. And it is not looking like that. This is a team that has we've talked a lot about teams that are maximum leveraged out. Like the Milwaukee Bucks are one of these teams that just have no pick control going forward forever. The Suns are another team that is the Clippers are maximally leveraged out, unked out to the gills. Like we have never seen a team this unked out, like ever, in the history of the NBA. And
the guy broke his hip.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I actually felt bad for Bradley Beal, which is something that I never do. But I saw that report come out and I was like, there's no way it's a fractured hip. And if you saw the play, it was like a normal fall. It wasn't like the Chet thing where he like fell from the heavens and like shattered his pelvis into a million. It was literally just like he tripped over a guy and then broke his hip. And now his season's over and possibly his career. And that was just, I knew he was going to be the punchline because it's the Unk squad. And he's had this kind of downfall over the last few years. The hip injury is just such a perfect microcosm for this Clippers team.
All right. Do you want to guess how many players on their 15-man roster are under the age of 28 on this roster?
Kobe Sanders, who just had Kobe Sanders, who I believe is on a two-way and started.
He's on a two-way. Sorry, I meant real players with real contracts.
Well, in my mind, he's a real player. He played well last night, but But I'm all right. So I'm going to say, I think Zubac is 28 and then Collins is over 28. So I'm going to say if you don't count the two-way players, it's just Kobe Brown, right?
There's also Yannick Conan Niederhauser.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then also Cam Christie also has a real contract. So,
okay. I didn't know if Cam Christie was a two-way guy still or not, but yeah.
So 3 total guys who are under the age of 28.
By the way, I just want to point this out. Someone said Kobe Sanders last night. He played pretty well in the game last night. And they said, this is the best Clippers rookie since SGA. And I was like, well, the bar for Clippers rookies is very low.
Yeah.
I don't think, I'm just throwing this out there. Kobe Sanders might have a nice career. I don't think he's going to come anywhere close to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Just a gut feeling on that one. Maybe he wins multiple MVPs in the future. I don't know. But
it's kind of crazy how SGA is the only good like Clippers like you have to go back. It's like Blake Griffin, SGA, and what like I'm remembering like Diamond Stone. Do you guys remember Diamond Stone? Like
amazing name.
They are like kind of the patient zero for like wasting draft. Like nobody wastes draft picks like the Clippers.
I actually kind of respect it, but only because like we talked about this before where it's like they know that they're horrible at drafting, so they try to get rid of their picks as much as they can. Now, this is clearly going to fuck them now because of, and possibly the entire NBA if the Thunder end up getting a top 3 pick in this upcoming draft. But I do respect that they're like, we're so bad at this that let's just get rid of the pick before we can even fuck it up and just pay a guy who's 30 and already let's just go get Chris Dunn. Let's just go get Derek Jones Jr.
It's like they've identified a market inefficiency and not selecting busts,
Mhm.
where it's like you cannot lose if you do not play.
Yeah.
Although I did wanted to ask, like, the best Clippers performance I saw this season was when they performed at halftime in Detroit a few days ago. Did you see this?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah.
Did you see the clip of the Unks all dancing at halftime?
I did see that.
That's
Yes,
what I'm talking about.
yes. That was the Clippers. Half the Clippers roster was out there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think that something that is being under discussed about the Clippers, again, from like almost in the same way that the beam and under discussed psychic damage, is like allegedly Ty Lue is in trouble. Like this Chauncey Billups thing is gonna the whole thing
You meant his job, and I was like, oh no, legally he might be in trouble.
Yeah.
I think it's like if you're Ty Lue and you're like, the main thing that people know about me is that I'm a jovial guy who fucking loves gambling. I just love fucking gambling. And my best friend, you might even call him my gambling buddy, was just indicted by the federal government. All right, better go see if I can run some Zubac pick and rolls in practice today. Like, he has got to be tripping.
Sorry, he's like a Scorsese, like third act, Ray Liotta like style, like looking out the front of the windshield, like while he's supposed to be like crunching tape and everything.
Exactly, like out.
It is very Job in Arrested Development coded to just be like every clip you could possibly find of Ty Lue, like love poker, love gambling. Like, it's like, remember that one time you told us, all this incriminating evidence in public and how you love to go to Las Vegas? That can only mean one thing, truly.
Yeah. Here's a theory. I have a theory. I just came up with it on the spot right now. What was the big scandal that happened that was like everyone was talking about right before the gambling thing? The Kawhi aspiration thing.
Mm-hmm.
What is the one thing that could take everyone's mind off of that? Who is a rich guy? Surely there's some connective. Others are alleging this. I just want to be clear. Like, this is not legal advice. This is medical advice. And it is.
I was going to say, I want to distance myself from Patrick just in case this gets back to the Clippers organization. But anyway, you can do. Just
saying, and also like maybe they just signed Ty Lue to an extension. Someone can fact check that. And they're like, fuck, this guy sucks. Let's get him out of here in some way. I'm just saying some of the pieces fit if you like change the shape of them.
Sure. No, definitely. Getting them off of the stench of the Kawhi thing and heading into a much bigger scandal that affects so many more people. Because the Kawhi thing, we just were like, we haven't even talked about that with their vibes. And that, if this story came out 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it would be dominating but it is like so minuscule in comparison. It is because it's just when you compare it to everything else that constantly happens in both the political media, sports media, and especially with this gambling thing now possibly connected to the Clippers and the LA teams. And everything that's happening, like, who would really give a fuck about like Kawhi planting some trees and getting a few million off the books?
True. They expect one of us in the wrecking.
I do keep. I'm not sure if I could like land this metaphor, but when Sam, you were like, it's a matter of a national emergency that the Clippers are like getting even worse and giving their draft picks to OKC. It's almost like all of the recent news on the Clippers are okay. Hear me out. The Clippers are America. The Clippers are Donald Trump / America.
Okay.
The
good and pure.
The tanking is us sort of would be invading Venezuela, and the sort of gambling / aspiration stuff is the Epstein files.
Epstein files. Okay. Yeah. I gotcha.
Those are the files getting leaked. We're panicking. We need to do something.
Look over here.
Yeah. Let's lose 15 games in a row. Like, maybe that'll help.
Yeah. Are you sure you want to slap a bunch of negative things on us that make us worse? And then Oklahoma City would have Cam Boozer. Are you sure you want to ruin your precious league?
The White House
hanging it over
drummers
the head.
go in and fucking smash Bradley Beal's hip with a hammer.
No, they're the emotionally manipulative boyfriend who's calling like the league office 16 times outside their apartment. Like, I have a gun. You better call me. Like, I'm gonna jump off the Brooklyn Bridge. And there I go. Oh, sorry, you were too late.
No, the NBA would never be related to anything like the Epstein thing. Don't Google that.
Well, actually, I've made this case on our show before where I don't think the draft lottery is fixed, but I think it should be. I think the league should, like, the day of the draft lottery release like a 5,000 word blog post being like, we decided this is what the order is going to be, and here's our justification for who moved up and who moved down. Like, I think that would be the funnest thing possible, because it would guarantee against something like OKC getting the number one pick. Like, they would ensure that pick falls as far as possible, or they would be like, basketball in Atlanta is back. The Pelicans have won the lottery, and we think this is like good and cool if they get a number one guy. Like, obviously they could never do this, but under the Redford administration, things would be different.
They never do this but because of woke and cancel culture.
Yeah, but they should.
I love this idea. I think so.
Why would a Boston fan love this idea? Anyway, continue.
Oh yeah. Well, no, actually, it would work against. Well, no, it wouldn't actually. In this
Come on.
Anyway, it would work against you.
Yeah. Here's what I think we do. Okay. What's the only group more annoying than NBA sports bloggers and podcasters? That's right. Film Twitter. Okay. But they get really excited about the Oscars. What if we had an Oscar style ceremony where the draft lottery becomes an Oscar style ceremony complete with like a top 5 and like people can kind of argue about who deserved it.
You make
like,
your pitch.
Yeah. You make your pitch.
People can vote on it.
Yeah, the Academy. And I think we could tap Bill Simmons to run the Academy of the draft lottery. And I think he would do such a good job with it. Like, he would be in his element doing that.
It's
The basketball czar.
Yeah.
The moonlight drama, but it's Chet getting the MVP over.
La La Land, they have to like flip the card around.
Did you guys see what OKC's social media team posted?
Oh my
God. I'm so happy you brought
I knew
this up.
everyone here would have immediately seen it. And
I got tagged in that, like, I'm not kidding, 40 times.
For anyone who missed it, I'm going to pull up the exact tweet, which was a photo of Chet wearing a black
Trinity from Matrix.
That is just an average Chet Holmgren out. That's actually the most normal thing that Chet Holmgren's ever worn in public. And I need to go to Sam's page because they've posted so many times. But did it say
black by popular demand?
Black by popular demand.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
There's no way that they post a photo of Chet saying black by popular demand and they don't know what's going on. Like, he isn't the B rabbit of the NBA.
I'm saying Oklahoma City is posting like the Department of Homeland Security account. The Story Right have seized control of the Oklahoma City Thunder social medias as well. So stay woke.
They would never. So all right, we have talked about. You know what? Look, we've talked about some teams that we've talked about a lot recently. I want to talk about a team that we. Now, look, in general, I wouldn't even say that their vibes are bad. I would just say at a certain point, it gets to be just like Sam's thing with OKC and the Clippers and all that related. By the way, I don't know if you know this. The reason why OKC has the Clippers pick, not this year, but next year, is actually because the fiend Sam Presti got in on the James Harden trade to the Clippers.
Right.
So that's actually not even from the Paul George trade. The 2027 first they own is actually a swap that he can never have enough is what I'm trying to get at here. Mm-hmm. Like, he was like, come back to the bank and get another loan because the Sixers can't swap their pick because they don't have a pick this year. We'll help you out with that. We'll be a friend and extend our hand out, and we'll see. A lot of people think that it's just the top 3, by the way. I just want to point out in the next draft, OKC, if they have a pick in the top 10, will get a impact player. Like,
for sure.
Their scouting staff is so good, and they will figure out a way. And they're like, what is your job on OKC? Play defense, watch SGA cook, and make open shots. Like, you can always find that guy in the top 10 of the NBA draft, and they'll get away with it. Like, I'm just saying right now, like, it's not just the top 3, I want to point out. But the team that I want to talk about is the Washington Wizards, because the Washington Wizards technically might think they have good vibes because they're like a young team. And by the way, a lot of people haven't discussed this, but the reason why they, in theory, should be bad is because they owe their pick, top 8 protected, to the Knicks from a weird trade. This pick got bounced all around, and there's no real reason to explain this, but it was the Russell Westbrook John Wall trade, if I remember correctly. And the long and short of this is that they are on year 3 of basically being worse than the process Sixers. And I know the top of the league is a little bit better than it was before, and like the blowouts nowadays, because of the pace and space, and because games can really get out of hand, it might be a little bit like era inflated, kind of similar to how when the Thunder were destroying teams last year, it's like, well, this might not be the greatest team of all time. It might just be an era thing. Having said that, we're on year 3, and like, I'm looking at this team and I'm like, Sarr seems to be pretty good. He's made a pretty big leap this year. Keyshawn George seems to be, a nice two-way wing that I think you could be a building block. But other than that, like, we've had 3 straight years of this team not even winning 20 games. They have 1 win right now and a bunch of questions. Like, what is this team? Like,
they just got dominated by Michael Porter Jr. playmaker in the toilet bowl like 2 days ago.
Career high for Michael Porter Jr. an assist in that game. Like, legitimately, the second time in his career, I think they said that he had more than 6 assists, and the other one came earlier in this season. So that the teams that we're comparing them to, like at the cellar dwellers at the bottom of the league, like the Brooklyn Nets, are kicking their ass. And they've had 2 games this year where I watched them, one against my Sixers, one against the Pistons, where they're up like 20, and even when they're like winning a game and seemingly running away with it, they cannot hold on to a lead to save their lives. Like, they're just completely blowing it down the stretch. I think we might be looking down the barrel of this team winning like a similar amount of games to the last year of the process Sixers. And if you're the GM of this team, how can you possibly sell this to ownership as like, we'll figure this thing out, other than like, we have $100 million in cap space next offseason and we'll save you a lot of money? Is that the pitch? Is the pitch for the Wizards just like, look, we're not going to spend a lot of money, and like, maybe we'll bring in Trae Young or something a year from now to get the vibes right? That's always a good thing, as the Atlanta Hawks are proving right now.
I think basically this season was dead the second that they got like 6th in the lottery. I think they were one of these, like, if we get Cooper Flag, then maybe we'll try something. But especially with that top 8 pick coming, like, I actually do like Trey Johnson, but like, none of the guys on this team, I don't think, can be like the guy. Like, Koulibaly is fine. Sarr is sort of like, if you squint and have a concussion, you're like, is that Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah, no.
But like, if you plug like one of the top 3 guys in this draft in there, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is a team that like kind of makes sense.
Yes,
but this is the 2nd straight draft we've said that, and it's like, at a certain point, like, it is, we talk about, like, you just talked about with the lottery stuff, where it's like certain years you get a top 3 pick and it's, this massive, oh my God, potentially generational player that you could get at the top of the draft that could change the outcome of your franchise. I'm not saying that these guys are necessarily that, but then certain years you get it and it's like, Alex Sarr could be a nice two-way guy with some upside. And like, you got the 2nd pick in the draft in the 2024 draft. By the way, a year after the Victor Wembanyama draft, which you chose not to tank for.
Yeah. I mean, that's the issue, is that the Bradley Beal thing was a disaster. And that wasn't this group, like I think it's just kind of hard to do the process with flattened lottery odds is the real issue. Like, they did get lucky. They did jump up. Statistically, you are probably going to jump up one of the 3 years. And the year they jumped up was the year that it was dog shit. Like, that's just kind of the breaks. I don't think it's as much of you and I have talked about this before, but I don't think it's as much of an indictment. Just like, they haven't had a chance to go get like a star player. Like I don't think Alex Sarr too was a big whiff in that draft.
No, definitely
like,
not. I'm
he
not.
did
Yeah,
pretty
I'm not
good.
saying that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and I would have said that before he had made this leap. I was like, I don't know about that, but it's also look, sophomore year. But the other thing that Will pointed out to me the other day is like that the Thunder and the Rockets and these teams that are now benefiting from, they chose to quote unquote, now look, they started with much more talent than a team like the Wizards did, right? They had James Harden, they had Paul George, they had Russell Westbrook, whatever. Russell Westbrook never played for the Washington Wizards, but they ended up selling at the best possible time, right? Where they were like, they noticed, look, we're not going anywhere. These guys probably are going to want out eventually. Let's just get ahead of this thing. And they had a 2 to 3 year window of just acquiring at the best time when everyone else was trying to buy, right? And then the Wizards do it, and it's like all the picks are gone. Like there's nothing to trade anymore. And so they try to do their own version of it. And the one life raft I will say I think they have, other than just getting lucky and hopefully jumping up or maybe drafting someone outside of that range that could potentially become a star, is the Bradley Beal thing. Because they do own the swaps from the Bradley Beal trade with the Suns. And if there's one team you want to mortgage against their future, I know they're having good feel good vibes right now, and they're not on this bad vibes team draft as they've exercised some of their deals in that regard.
They're like four Connor Gillespie threes away from
That's a very good point. It is very funny because I tend to be a little bit prisoner of the moment with these things, but I'm sure that a month from now, 2 injuries literally could put you directly on this list. And the large majority of teams that we've discussed are teams that don't have either good young players or their draft capital moving forward. And it seems like the Suns certainly fall into that bucket, and the Wizards at least have that pathway out of things.
You know what the Wizards really could use, and it just would have been so good for them, is like a late lottery if they had just hit on like a big playmaking, possibly Israeli forward that could just, with a track record of being able to like anchor an up and coming exciting team. Like it just something like that would have like really helped.
Well, and if they got that guy, I mean, the only way that wouldn't work out for them is if they traded that for literally the worst player in the league.
And I do just want to point out, also, what if they got that player on a scam contract? Wouldn't that be insane if they were able to do that? If they were able to get him on one of the best value contracts in the league, and then they turned around and they traded him for the player that would become the worst player in the NBA.
And also, like, I heard Lowe, understandably, like, defending the trade as like, okay, it was, both teams got a good situation. Danny Avdija did not come out of nowhere. Like it wasn't that like Sabonis or Oladipo trade where it was like, wow, okay, new system. He's reinvigorated. He like got better every year, and it continues to get better every year. And
we talked about it. If you could go check the tape when we were streaming the night that trade happened, and we were like, that's it. Like we were like, he makes no money. He is the exact kind of archetype of that the entire league is looking for. And you basically just got the corpse of Malcolm Brogdon, a late lottery pick in what we have now laid out as one of the worst drafts in recent memory, and a potentially future, I think it's the worst of Boston and the Bucks first round pick in like 2029 or something like that. But the argument for the Wizards was like Denny might have made them too competent, and then they give away their pick, and that's really their only way out. But like I'm kind of like, if you have a good young player and he could help you temporarily and also long term, and doesn't make fucking an extraordinary amount of money, probably just keep that player. Like, you need talent.
I'll own up. You were much more like that, Trill. I was a little more on the you can kind of sell that. I didn't expect him to take this kind of. He has taken like a little bit of a leap. Yeah. I kind of saw him as more of a very, very rich man's like Torian Prince, like for some of the, and he's kind of shown off like a
rich man. What do you mean by that?
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Which kind of rich man?
Yeah.
Like a landlord?
Sort of something, a Pat Connaughton, if you will, across between but he but he has like increased his like off the like bounce like juice and some of this other stuff. I do think that like, obviously the thing was that it was a bad draft, and you kind of had to take your word for it. I do think that like getting a lottery pick isn't nothing. I understand it's like a bad draft, but this might be the first draft. This is not true. There is an all NBA player somewhere in the like 7 to 14 range in every like NBA draft. So like like if you're bad, like is Denny Avdia gonna move the needle for you and to the point where you risk losing him for nothing somewhere down the road in the amount of time it's going to take you to get good and actually like cash in on him. Now, what I was wrong about learning about that is we don't have free agency anymore. That doesn't happen anymore. Guys don't like change teams anymore, which is what I didn't understand in that moment. Like
also when they do change teams, it's like the Sixers with Paul George 2 years ago, where it's like, yeah, Paul George might not be worth the amount of money that the Sixers gave him, but what else are they going to do? Like they're getting Paul George for nothing. And then it's like, well, he's going to ruin your life very shortly.
Good players don't hit free agency anymore. Like that. It used to be like only mega superstars like hit free agents. That doesn't happen anymore. The Supermax has like killed that. Like, and everybody's like playing that game. So like cap space is like worth literally nothing for signing players. It's strictly a dumps and like trade facilitation, like lubricant at this point in time. Which was the part of that deal that I didn't understand. And I think that kind of folds into Trill's earlier point about like the Wizards trying to build a team like it's 2019 instead of 2025. Like,
well, the good news is that they have $100 million in cap space next year. So let's see what they end up doing.
How many points per game do you think Corey Kispert is averaging right now?
Oh, dude, that's Sam's guy. Me and Sam used to argue over Corey Kispert day and night. By the way, Bill Simmons is the same person as Sam on a recent podcast said that Davion Mitchell is one of his favorite players he would have traded for, and also has said Corey Kispert needs to be traded to a contender immediately. I'm going to guess that Corey Kispert is averaging 13 or 16 points a game. Let's say
that's a pretty good guess. I was going to say, I'm going to Price is Right you and say 17.1.
He is averaging 8 points per game. He has played all 13 games off the bench. I remember when he was someone's got to get him off the Wizards. Like Hachimura got traded, Avdia got traded, and I thought, well, surely like the third of their former lottery guys who like kind of suck is also going to get traded and like go somewhere cool. And like he's just around. Like his stats are like a perfect pyramid. Like they went up for a while and now he's just a guy.
I do think if I were going to try to salvage Wizards guy, I would try to get Bub Carrington, because we have seen these guards who look horrific, like really bad, like unsalvageably bad, kind of change situations and like kind of become normal. I'm not saying Bub will.
I also want to give Bub a little bit. I completely forgot that he suffered a personal tragedy earlier this year. His dad passed away, I think.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
You want to know the reason why I know this?
Okay.
The Wizards posted and said Bub Carrington Sr. passed away, but I read it really fast and I was like, Jesus, Bub Carrington my heart dropped. Not that obviously his father passing away is also a tragedy, but normally teams don't post about that kind of stuff. So for 5 seconds, I was like, what the and then I read it and I was like, oh my God, it was not that at all. So once again, I do want to give Bub, I know he's been really having this sophomore slump. I completely forgot about that. And that is something that is like, we've seen so many times, time and time again, where that can just fuck someone up mentally so bad.
That's still I'm still in Bub Carrington's. Like I did just call him the worst player in the NBA because it's an objective fact, but he's still my guy and I'm still rooting for him.
Look, I love him, but if you sort by Vorp,
literally, I'm doing the calculator rat thing, like where it's like, I'm gonna look at the numbers, read the numbers off, but that's still my guy. I want to be clear that just because I'm acknowledging the scientific fact that he is a bad NBA player does not mean that I'm out on Bub Carrington. That's
all right. Just before you guys get out of here, we don't want to take too much of your time. The other teams that I had as consideration for this were the Memphis Grizzlies.
I would have picked them fifth for sure.
Yeah, we've already talked about them a lot, but that's just an obvious one. Although, might resurrect it.
Can I want to talk to you about this because I saw you tweet about this Trill. You tweeted about the Ringer podcast episode where what's his name? Vernon talks uninterrupted for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I have to say I was a proud owner of the Fell For It Again award, Verno had me fired up about the coach. I was like, yeah, dude, like Jaw's gonna come back like the next day. It's gonna be totally fine. Watch the next game. Jaw's like picking his nose at half court. I was like, dude, I'm an idiot. Like, I can't believe I just completely believed that like advanced European interpersonal conflict resolution was going to change the Grizzlies.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Verno, our friend Richard Normal has pointed this out. If Verno worked in any other field, he would have to disclose every time he goes on a podcast to talk about the Grizzlies that he is technically employed by the Memphis Grizzlies. He works for Grind City Media, which is Grind City Media. The Chris Vernon show is hosted on there. That is the media arm of the Memphis Grizzlies. I Googled it. They own the
like MSG,
organization.
MSG Media, yeah.
It's legitimately state media. So when he goes on there and makes these pitches, it's like not the most credible source in the world that you should be trusting.
I mean, I got it, dude. I just was like, that's a completely understandable situation.
Demonides back, and we'll see what he has. He looked great the other night in his first game back. So
I'm a big Cedric Coward guy too. I really like him.
He's been incredible to start the year. I mean, he was the mystery box guy in this draft where I was like, it's kind of like Shaden Sharp a few years ago where it's like we have so little information on him, but like if you just look at like he's a big wing who can shoot and handle the ball, he's a pretty good defender, and then he was like literally the most efficient scorer in like the history of college basketball. I'm like, that feels like a pretty good combination of things for an NBA player. But no, he's been great, arguably like the best rookie so far. And then they have things to look forward to. It's just like they have to trade Ja. That's ultimately the end of. I think that will just completely reset everything and make it so that their vibes can start to kind of recorrect themselves. The other teams that I had for this, the Mavericks, we've talked about them ad nauseum because of the Nico Harrison thing. The Orlando Magic, just something to keep an eye on. Very weird vibes there right now. I wouldn't necessarily say they're borderline, I would say. And then your Golden State Warriors, Harry. I mean,
it's strange. It's scary out here.
Scary hours for the Warriors. Like,
I've never seen a more load-bearing 2 wins against the San Antonio Spurs.
It's holding up a lot. That's
it was about to be over. I was like getting ready to throw in the towel, and then fucking Curry goes for 47, which like is what ultimately does spark or give oxygen to the like kernel of hope I have that springs eternal with this team, which is like, if we can just get to the playoffs, I'll take Steph Curry against anybody. But yeah, it's they're the last unction surviving, basically.
Yes, yeah, they are trying to do what everyone they have zagged in the elder direction, while the entire NBA decides to go in the other direction, get younger, more athletic. Can they drag the corpses of Al Horford and Jimmy Butler?
Game, like distribution of which games he decides to play is making me so.
Welcome, brother. Welcome,
Al
brother.
Horford sat against OKC and then sat against the Spurs, and then just gave us 30 good minutes against the New Orleans Pelicans.
He's only good on the Celtics. I tried to warn people. He's only good on the Celtics.
Work smarter, not harder. That's all I'll say. Like, gotta get those stats padding somewhere. You're gonna get one more bag.
I keep saying that Al Horford hasn't played for the Warriors yet because I just I'm not seeing it.
Wait, can I flag a? Here's a bad take. The San Antonio Spurs. Wemby has this calf strain. Harper has this calf strain. Castle is now out for a few weeks with the hip thing that came down during the recording. Now De'Aaron Fox is going to have to hold up the world. And when they go on this like little inevitable 3 or 4 game losing streak, everyone is going to be like, disaster trade, disaster contract, trade in the second Harper comes back, and the pressure is going to get potentially is going to get kind of crazy. So as a big Fox fan with doomer tendencies, just keep your eyes on it.
Let me go one step further. This was a CIA style JFK style assassination by
yes.
the San Antonio Spurs. They understand that they made a mistake with the Fox trade because they weren't expecting to get Harper. They are setting up De'Aaron Fox right now. This is not only that, they are trying to tank their way into the thing. They are trying to get public. They're trying to get leverage basically with the public to trade De'Aaron Fox. Like, oh, he's not the guy we thought he was. Like, we didn't make a mistake, but like, we got to just, we got to trade him for Anthony Davis. That is what it is at this point. Like, so sorry.
And then Sam's also now theorizing that we're going to get mystery injuries from the whole Spurs roster. They're going to go back for more and just tank one more year before this to create. They're seeing the arms that the Thunder are loading up, and they're like, we need more. We need to keep going back for more.
I will say when Wemby's injury was announced, I had a lot of people replying to me with like pictures of Chet and like defensive player of the year things. And I would just say Spider-Man meme on that one before I did any victory laps about Chet Holmgren and
his health might also be, a ticking time bomb, possibly. Yeah.
Oh, well, I've got one more also in the range of kind of like outlandish bad vibes things. I want to have a brief conversation about DeAndre Ayton. He is
a main character on this podcast.
He is, I would say he's acting out. Like there, the things that he is saying. There was another recent piece. Maybe you guys already talked about this. About Ayton. Did you guys see this thing about Ayton playing classical music instead of NBA YoungBoy?
No.
Incredible.
This is a quote from a piece in the New York Times. Not the Athletic, weirdly, which is like, what are we doing? Ayton grabbed the tablet controls for the room's music. He and Jake LaRivia began talking about that one NBA YoungBoy song that sounds like that other NBA YoungBoy song that neither of them knew the name. That's the real sentence. So Ayton went rogue and did his own thing. For the second straight game, an hour prior to tip-off, the Righteous Brothers' Unchained medley boomed through the team's portable speaker. Ayton, with Austin Reeves and others watching, started to preach to no one in particular.
That
guy is going to sway playoff games? Are you sure about that?
LeBron James is gonna put the clutch media machine is going to do so much incredible leaking in an effort to get this guy out of there.
Dude, they're gonna give him Havana syndrome. Like they're gonna implant like a speaker in the back of his neck that tells him that he needs to.
Well, to be fair, I don't think we need a lot to hold DeAndre Ayton back from wanting to go to work. Like it's very easy just to keep him away. He is the ultimate. I know I think he's a Zoomer. I think he is.
Oh yeah.
But we talked about this a lot. But there's this range of like the Zoomer fringe millennials that are just so anti-work and honestly kind of heroes in our minds. And there was a stretch of drafts where that was the case with Fultz and Simmons and Ayton, and all they want to do is like smoke weed and play video games. And I think that's really cool and admirable personally.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah.
There is this like sweet spot where you don't want to do anything, but you veer into the other end where you don't want to do anything and you want to be a streamer. Like if you can,
they all fit in that box pretty much.
Yeah, I guess you're right. If you can somehow, they're like, if you want to,
Simmons and Ayton definitely too.
Yeah.
Did you guys see JJ Redick wearing the Lion shirt and
that's
Lion shirt too? Like there is something nefarious going on in that locker room. I don't know what it is.
They're hyping him up, dude. They're building up his confidence. You got to rebuild him after all these years that he's just struggled through having to play NBA basketball.
The JJ shirt reinforces my long-standing take, which I've shared with Patrick, that JJ Redick is a good coach, not in spite of, but because he was a good podcaster.
Yeah.
It's like being able to podcast and sort of spin pithy narratives is what makes you a good coach.
I've said before that this is the market inefficiency, and somebody needs to get the dunker spot guys in a like that's going to be like the game breaker. That's the coaching inefficiency that they need. So
Nope, it's Bill Simmons. Bill Simmons, next Celtics head coach. Talk soon.
Bill would be such a disaster. So you out there, you know what you look like? You kind of remind me of like the DJ Qualls run from the road trip all the way through. Like you're kind of like you were kind of like I can't remember his name. Jason Biggs, was that his name? You're like a Mallrats style Jason Biggs, like but before the My Name Is Earl Renaissance. Like that's kind of what I'm seeing from you out there. I need you to play a little harder.
By the way, I do just want to point out this is the second time in the last 24 hours that Sam has referenced DJ Qualls on.
I was really proud of that poll the first time because Reed does look like DJ Qualls. I'm sorry.
Does he? Does he? I feel like
DJ Qualls has a bigger nose, but like ignore the nose for a second.
Yeah. I think tall and skinny, but either way, I think it's close enough. It's in the same ballpark. All right, guys. Nothing but respect for you guys. I'll put the links in the description so that everyone can follow you. Check out the podcast we did yesterday. Check out your podcast in general. It is one of our favorite NBA podcasts going on right now, and I'm so glad that we got to do a home and home finally.
Yeah. This is very fun. Yeah, thanks for having us, and thank you for the nothing but respect.
Yeah, let's go.
That's exactly right.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Peace.
It's Jason Lee, by the way, Sam.
Jason Lee. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Fuck. How did I fuck that up?
I just watched Almost Famous, so I kind of did remember that it wasn't Jason Biggs, but
Jason Biggs is the American Pie guy. That's what it was. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep,
no,
exactly.
That's a terrible miss on my part.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway. You guys need anything from me before I drop off?
No, we're just gonna do some Anthony Davis trades. Cool. So if
I'll head off, but I'll leave you with Embiid for AD straight up.
Okay. I looked into it. I don't think they'll do it. I don't think the Mavericks would do it. There's no reason for the Mavericks to do it. Yeah.
A lot of people have thrown this out to me. And the Mavericks would definitely say no.
Yeah, that's the conclusion I came to. So
the Mavericks should definitely say no because the Embiid contract goes longer than the Anthony Davis contract. That's the real. And also, like I've talked about this before, like every time a guy gets mad and it, like posts or like goes on, like it's very funny because with Sixers fans right now, there's been this civil war where like some of the old Sixers fans are still holding on to like Joel Embiid is one of the best players in the NBA, and when he's healthy, he's going to be an MVP, and blah blah blah. And then there's another faction of Sixers fans that are like, I just want to move on. Like, can we trade Embiid? And it's like, no one's trading for a $60 to $70 million part-time player. Like, that is just not in the realm of possibility. We just saw like Bradley Beal get bought out on 1 year left. We see teams like being like, I don't even want to touch that money. And this Joel Embiid makes $70 million 4 years from now. Like he has over 3.5 years left on his deal. And I just think that people need to get that completely out of their mind. But that is something that a lot of people have.
It would be funny if they like stretched him somehow. I don't even know how the stretch provisions work.
You can't. He makes too much money.
Well, it's like you could stretch him such that he would make like Justin Jefferson money for the next 25 years.
The best wide receiver in the NFL.
Cool. All right, fellas. I'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.
So some Anthony Davis trades that we're going to pull from the Unoball Discord and some from Twitter as well. My first one, actually, by the way, I don't know if you did any in the trade machine, Sam.
I did. I tried to find that. It's actually kind of fucking hard, to be totally honest.
It's hard not just because of the fact that Anthony Davis is in this situation where he doesn't have a ton of trade value. It's also hard because money-wise, they're capped at the second apron.
Yeah.
So they actually have to send out more money than they take back in this trade. So you would almost certainly have to get the Brooklyn Nets involved in some capacity because they're or a team that has an exception or cap space or whatever. They're one of the few teams that actually can grease the wheels here and make a move like this. This was my first trade, which was, this is the only one that I came up with that I didn't see anyone post, but it was Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell to the Heat Terry Rozier and Terry Rozier's contract, obviously. Do you think the NBA would step in and be like, you can't trade his contract because he's under investigation, or they would just let them do
I think
that?
they'd just let him get
Yeah.
traded if
Yeah.
everybody knows what's going on. You know what
Sure.
I'm saying? Like if the Mavericks know what the risks are,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I can't see a reason why they wouldn't, you know?
In the past, it was kind of gross when Nate Duncan would refer to someone as a human trade exception. But in this case, is that not what it is? Like, it's
kind of
legitimately.
Yeah, I weren't they kind of doing this like with Kevin Porter Jr.'s contract? Am I like misremembering that when he was under investigation for the assault?
He got dumped and waived. Like,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He got traded though. Like
it wasn't like it wasn't a trade. You are correct, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a trade to like make salary work. It was literally just to save the Rockets money, and like the Thunder took on a second round pick to do it.
That's what I'm saying. Like they were like using the contract. Like I think what I'm saying is that was a precedent for like somebody being under legal investigation and then, like, still being traded. Like
yeah. Tyler Hero, by the way, Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier going to the Mavericks in this trade, and then Dante Exum goes to the Nets just to make the money work. So the Mavericks get Tyler Hero, he get Anthony Davis, and by the way, D'Lo. I don't know if you've watched Mavs fans recently, but they have not been happy with D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
They've been losing their mind watching him play with their Cooper Flag and their other players in the team right now. They just don't see him as any way helping this team. But this is basically Anthony Davis for Tyler Hero.
Why? That's kind of tough for the Heat. Like what? Bam and Anthony Davis front court. Like,
do you think Bam can shoot threes now?
No, not consistently. You know, like, well, I mean, he can shoot them, but like, I still think the floor. There's a difference between like shooting them and like being going from being a rim protector to being like an Al Horford style guy who's like exclusively in the corners. You know what I'm saying? Like old Al Horford. I mean, like the current iteration of Al Horford, who basically just spaces. You know, like I don't think Bam would do that.
So the idea behind this is basically they've been winning games. Now they've regressed a little bit since Bam got hurt, but they've been winning games without Tyler Hero. And like historically, they've always looked better when Tyler Hero gets hurt in the playoffs. Right. So the idea is essentially you're trading out. And like right now, if you look at their team, right, they have Davion Mitchell, who's a two-way guard. They have Yakuchones hasn't really played, but they have him. They have Norm Powell, who basically fills the Tyler Hero role, but is actually he plays a little bit more of he's at least more of an efficient scorer than Tyler Hero, even though Tyler Hero is probably more of a lead guard on your team, but like
more of a shooter too than Norm Powell's kind of can shoot, but is more of a slasher.
Norm's one of the best shooters in the NBA. Norm's a better shooter than Tyler Hero, I think.
On volume though? Like
this is Norm's whole thing.
Really?
Norm has been like
moron like now for
this is the opposite of the Luke Cornett thing. Norm Powell shot 42% from 3 on 7 attempts per game last year, 46% from 3 on 7 attempts per game so far this year. He has upped his volume in the last 2 years, but he's also playing starters minutes now. He's averaging 25 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. And his effective field goal percentage is 57, almost 58 over the last 2 years. Norm's just a very good scorer. And he kind of fills, he's shooting 46 or 48% from 3 to start the year. Norm is one of the best catch and shoot guys in the NBA. He's someone who's going to at least fill some of that. And like, if you're leaning more towards like, let's run our offense through Anthony Davis and Bam and Jaime Jaquez and these big wings and bigs, and then defensively, Spo will be able to really maximize an AD Bam front court with Ware potentially coming off the bench. I mean, look, I think that Tyler Hero's year last year was probably a little bit above his head. Like, I don't think he's like a legit all-star caliber player. Maybe you want to see Tyler Hero play with this new system they have before you make any sort of trades like this. And Miami historically has not really made these trades because they've been kind of cheap. And they haven't really wanted to like pay guys in the same way, but they also have a decision to make with Tyler Hero coming up where like they have to extend him or potentially trade him because he only has 2 years left on his deal. So that was the idea behind this, essentially. Like the Mavericks, unfortunately, look, you just have to look at the Luka trade like it's in the past. And they basically get Tyler Hero to do, the quirked up white boy thing with Cooper Flagg in Dallas. And then on the flip side, if you're the Heat, you're just making your front court even stronger. And
I guess it's more of a win now move then, because you are getting like older and everything else, like with everyone around him. I'm again feeling pretty like I must have just watched like the 4 games where Norm Powell was just like a rim demon, like because that's how I remember.
He's good at that
Toronto.
as well. That was what he used to be more so than he can do both, to be clear. But he's definitely like he's a huge volume scorer who is like great off the catch.
And I just looked at the numbers. Like his free throw attempts are not what I thought they were. I thought he was like more of a doing it with athleticism rather than strength, but like kind of more of like a baby Harden type guy. And like just in terms of like getting to the rim and getting to the free throw line, and he doesn't get to the free throw line that much. So I'm owned. But no, I think that's a really interesting trade. I think that's like a Hero. I think would like help with the spacing. Like I think the only thing is I really think that Bam AD fit would be like incredibly clunky, but
double big era. I don't know. Teams are playing a lot more. Like the question is, do you think that they could get the devil magic out of AD? Because if the idea of Anthony Davis being even remotely healthy on the Heat kind of scares me, to be honest.
I mean, if they could figure out how to do that, is insane rim protection. You have 2 of the best rim protectors like in the fucking NBA, like as your center and power forward. Like, so I don't know. Like that's a really interesting one. I'm interested to see if the Heat would be interested in that because it is like kind of it's a jarring shift in style.
Sure.
Like a little bit, you become a little bit more like plodding, but you also just get so good on defense. Like they could be like the best defense in the NBA or second best behind like OKC. Like it's interesting. I like that one. That's a good pull from you. I like
that was really the only one that I came up with that I was like, I could kind of see this for both. Now maybe Dallas would just say, no, we want more. And AD hasn't played enough for them to really justify that. But maybe the Heat look at it as a way to kind of like look at the rest of the Eastern Conference right now. Like, what team are the Heat potentially afraid of in the Eastern Conference? And like, would this not take them up a level? Like, if he is even remotely healthy, now he would have to play a month or 2, I think, before that any trade like this could happen. But that was my best realistic trade that I could come up with. Let's pull a few from Twitter that I got tweeted at me, which, by the way, in your opinion, this was my thought. People have thrown out like, let's do not just with the Anthony Davis trades, but like people have said this, like if you're a team like the Heat or you're a team trying to do like the Clippers or something, like a rehab thing, right? Where it's like, oh, let's trade for Ja or Trey or Zion or whoever. To me, Anthony Davis is the one that I think still has the most potential personally, because I mean,
he would still cost something,
Sure, no, but I'm saying
that's
like
the difference. But
all those guys, like I know what I'm getting when I trade for Trae Young. I know I have to change my entire team to kind of work with him. I don't know if Ja and Zion are really ever going to be able to stay healthy. Not that I do with Anthony Davis, but like we do have within the last year, Anthony Davis was one of the 15 best players in the NBA when he was healthy.
I'll say this. Anthony Davis has been on 3 teams now. Trae Young has only been on 1 team, so like I get it, but like I Trill, for those who are watching, Trill gave me
I just can't with Trae Young. I can't, dude. Yeah. Like it's very much the Principal Skinner meme at this point, where it's like Trae Young can't be not good. It must be everyone else. And it's like Trae Young is out and his team is playing like out of their mind right now.
Sure. No, and it's bad on the Hawks. I get it. I would be interested to see what it looks like on another team. I would just be interested to see what that might look like.
Can I see it?
I am fully aware that I'm doing the Kevin O'Connor, like if Russell Westbrook did off-ball screens, he would really transform the game. Like, I understand that, but
yes.
But no,
Right.
Anthony Davis is a good. To your point, he is a good rehab bet at this point in time, especially if you have a good training staff.
So Max Klotz from the Boris Dirk podcast tweeted at me and said, AD for Fox, Keldon Johnson, and a first. It can only be done after February 4th.
Keldon Johnson, Fox, and a first. What do we think of? That's interesting. What do we think of that with Kyrie? That's my thought. Like,
I mean, I guess I didn't even think about the Kyrie hero thing. That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a weird.
Well,
like Fox, to me, Fox and Kyrie makes more sense as backcourt just because like, you guys like the rim pressure guy and the other guy is like the ball handler. Like, you know,
I do think Hero has some movement shooting that Fox doesn't really have.
Sure.
Like, so I don't think that like is now. Can you get the buy-in from Hero? Is like the thing there. Fox is interesting. It is interesting because like Fox and Kyrie are like, well, we'll see what Kyrie looks like when he gets back, but they are like historical rim demons, but it's like very different. Like where Kyrie is just this insane like mind with like math and geometry, like these absurd angles, like where he's like high off the glass and everything. And like Fox is just like this athlete, you know, that like just straight line. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Straight line drive. So
both of them don't really play like that anymore is the thing. Like
that is true too.
They both just kind of want to live in the mid range and like if you're building a team around Cooper Flag, what kind of players do you want with him is the question. And like, look, Fox certainly is a good NBA player. I don't know how much synergy there would be with those two. Mm-hmm. I would like to see it, to be honest with you, like just like a Fox Flag sort of 2-man game, pick and roll style.
Can I say something? I think Keldon Johnson is like not a throw-in in that trade. He's the guy that I might be getting tricked by in like the early season right now.
I saw another Spurs fan. I don't know. I haven't watched them recently, but I saw a Spurs fan tweet and say, I can't believe I fell for early season Keldon again.
Okay.
This might be a thing he does. Okay. I don't know because
Gotcha.
I really don't watch the Spurs all that much. I mean, last night he went 7 for 11 for 14 points and had 12 rebounds.
He looked really good. I've only watched. I'm not going to pretend I watch a lot of Spurs. I've watched 2 Spurs games though, and like I have them. Like I'll flip on the game. Like I've had them in the churn a couple of times. He's like kind of pops to me, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, am I really falling for Keldon Johnson? Like I think he would kind of be a godsend for the Mavs and like what they kind of need, like in terms of like juice from the guard spot. So. That's the kind of
Jonathan saying in the comments he's been terrible this year, which is very funny because like if you look at his stats, they look good, but I really can't add to the conversation. Unfortunately, I just haven't watched enough Keldon Johnson minutes to say. The thing with him has always been like
he looked good in the games I watched.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, making 7 threes is not. That's not a
he's shooting 25% from 3. The thing with him, he's shooting 67% from 2, which is crazy. But the thing with him is that like the everyone has always said like he's a really bad off-ball defender. He tends to struggle with decision making, but also like he has a year and a half, 2 years left on his contract. Like it's a flyer. Like it's we see guys get thrown into trades all the time and then end up finding themselves on a different situation and playing better. But
I would kind of like to see that on the Mavs, especially with like while you're gonna have this like experiment time when like Kyrie's out to kind of see what it looks like, and you can kind of make decisions from there when Kyrie's back. Like that's kind of a fun part of this. I think Anthony Davis with Wembanyama, that makes a lot of sense to me. And now you do kind of run into the problem, like, okay, have you now spent, if you're turning De'Aaron Fox into Anthony Davis, now you've spent even more of your draft capital for an even older player on for your, 21-year-old fucking superstar.
Plus Harper, who you just drafted. Like you're doing the 2 timelines thing, although Anthony Davis's contract is shorter. And you can basically kind of remaneuver this thing to try to win right now. My whole thing with like the Spurs making another like win now trade is like they just, to me, they have so much time that like I wouldn't be eager about doing something like that, especially if I just don't think I can trust Anthony Davis to stay healthy.
Well, and they also like can't like the only thing that derails the Spurs is Wembanyama's health. Like they're going to be fine no matter. They could completely ruin their team and still be fine if Wembanyama plays. Like so, it like almost doesn't really matter. But I kind of like that one. That one's not bad either. I would consider that one.
So I mean, it definitely would balance out their roster a lot more. That's undeniable. I mean, and if you think Harper and Castle are the future, it would. I mean, I know they're both injured right now, but it's certainly would make a lot more sense for that team. A Mavs fan tweeted this at me. I was surprised. AD for Jared McCain and Paul George or Embiid. I mean, someone said it was delusional and replies once again. I don't think Embiid is being traded. I don't think there's any team in the NBA. Paul George and Jared McCain. On Bill Simmons' podcast, he suggested that for CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton, and I almost drove my fucking car off a cliff. I did have a car while I was listening to that. I was actually borrowing my mom's for anyone who says you don't have a car. I was, okay.
You had a car.
Yeah, I almost drove my mom's car off a cliff because I was like, if we do that, but apparently Nick Nurse hates Jared McCain, which is a revelation that we have learned over this past few weeks. He's playing him 5 minutes a game. I know Jared's still recovering from multiple surgeries, but it does feel weird, and it feels like the organization might not be as high on him as I had originally thought. Here's the thing. I just don't think you can roster. It's hard for me with this kind of trade because like there's part of me that's like, fuck it. Like, go for it. Anthony Davis, when healthy, is still better than Paul George, especially this version of Paul George. And Paul George drives me absolutely insane. But, like, can you imagine trying to rely on an Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid front court to stay healthy for even 5 games? Like, no. It seems impossible to do that. Having said that, like, what is the alternative, right? Like, Paul George also isn't going to stay healthy. He's not quite the same player he used to be. And he makes a ton of money. Their contracts go for the same amount. Honestly, the reason I think that the Sixers wouldn't do this is ownership wouldn't want to spend the money because Anthony Davis makes more money than Paul George. Now with Jared McCain's money, it gets a little bit closer. But I think I would be surprised if they're trading. I don't think they're going to trade any of Paul George, Embiid, or Jared McCain right now, just because this is literally the lowest point of their trade value possible. And while Anthony Davis, once again, if we got 2 months of Anthony Davis healthy and looking like a top 15, 20 player again, of course you could probably talk me into this. You could talk me into a lot of stuff. But in general, I just love the vibes of this team. I don't really want to fuck with it. Like, from a logical standpoint, it does make sense to try to do some sort of upgrade that maybe makes your team make a little bit more sense. Although I don't even know if that does. But the long and short of this is that the Sixers should just be patient. Like, I don't think the Sixers aren't in a situation like for example, the teams we've already talked about, like, I think that the Spurs could contend for the championship this year with the right move. I think the Heat could potentially win the East with the right move. I would be surprised if this took the Sixers to another level, and just the health question mark of everything feels kind of impossible to deal with. So, all right. A lot of people have thrown out that just Trae Young for Anthony Davis straight up. We've talked about it a little bit before. Do the Hawks do it? I know that sounds weird.
Okongwu's been like, okay, you know,
he's been incredible.
Yeah. Like, I'm a little skeptical of that. I don't think Okongwu is like really this good.
I haven't looked at his stats recently.
Yeah.
I said before when we did our Star in Plain Sight draft, I was looking at Okongwu's numbers and I was like, what? When did Okongwu become this good?
He was really good to like end the year. I remember that, like, because I'm annoyed because I like kind of held Okongwu stock for a while and then I gave up like right at the wrong time. And I do. He is small though, and I do think like in a playoff setting, like I worry about that. So like I'm worried he might be a little bit of a regular season demon versus like a actual like impact playoff guy. So getting somebody like Anthony Davis does give you like a little bit more versatility on that end. It does give you a different look.
So I just want to say the last 2 years. So we're just doing last year and the beginning of this year. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Not a massive sample of games. That's like 80, 90 games here. Okongwu has shot from 2-point range in this stretch. Hold on, I'm trying to get this up here. From 2-point range, he shot on high volume, shot 64% from 2 last year. He shot 60% from 2 this year. And over his last 140 games, he shot 34% from 3. And he's up to 38.7 to start this year. He shot 32 last year. He's like, once again, the reason, very similar to the Sixers, they're just like opening a new chapter of their franchise. And I would be surprised if they make a big splash like this, where once again, it is they're like a young, fun team. Trae Young might be moving on. I think if they're trading Trae Young, they'd rather take back like similar to the Brandon Ingram deal last year, where they're just like, give us expirings and a pick instead of trading for an Anthony Davis style player, because they also have the Pelicans pick. So it's like, it's kind of similar. Like they don't want to like make their bed and then figure out like, oh, what if we have to draft Boozer or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. How many years does Anthony Davis have? It's 2. Like
it's 2.5. So it's this,
Yeah.
the rest of this season, then 2 more. It's
That's
Paul
a little too
Paul George
long.
and him are on the same timeline.
Yeah,
That's the reason I know that.
that's a little too long, I think, for
Yeah.
Atlanta. So I don't know if
you should do it.
Yeah. And I don't think Trae Young, I don't know.
So another challenge trade. By the way, there's going to be a lot of challenge trades just because that's kind of the nature of when you have a contract as big as Anthony Davis, you kind of need to trade him for other stars. So Ethan in the Discord said Anthony Davis for LaMelo Ball and Grant Williams. Grant Williams going back to Dallas. We can't get rid of this fucking guy.
If that happened and I was a Charlotte Hornets fan, I would walk into the ocean. I know LaMelo's like not available. That's still the amount of surrender that is in that move. The Hornets, I love the Hornets. I enjoy watching them. They are so far away. And adding Anthony Davis I'm not even sure adding Anthony Davis makes them a playoff team. Like, why would you? I understand like the frustrations with LaMelo. We talked about LaMelo, like, and like how all the things that are bad about it, but at least there's hope that at some point, like, things will do. That is just like trading for despair. I would run away from that if I were
I am a little bit bunny with the clock right now with LaMelo, where I'm just like,
yeah, I get it.
The ankles, like he might just like he came back and people were upset with the fact that he was missing games again. Then he came back and he just doesn't look right. Like a guy on Twitter who covers the Hornets was like, his balance is all off. Like he can't seem to get right. And now look, we've never had the history of a young guard with ankle issues getting, having his career turned around with it. Someone that's like got a really great touch and was a high pedigree prospect at one point. And that's never happened before. So I will say that would be very Charlotte Hornets plus at least partially making up for the Luka trade if that did happen to the Mavericks, if they were able to pull. I agree with you though. Like if I'm trading LaMelo, I want to go in the opposite direction and just
I want to get younger. I want really good draft picks or something.
Yeah. Or like you're just like, hey, let's be kind of bad this year. Hope we get some lottery luck. And like Khan has looked so good.
It's crazy, dude.
In a way that I'm just like, and look, I love Khan in the draft. Like we were both high on Khan. I never expected him to look this instantly good just because I felt like it was going to be a huge adjustment for him to NBA athleticism. But one of the things that we kept saying throughout the cycle was he led the EYBL in scoring. He led the ACC tournament in scoring. He always figured out, like at Duke, he started a little bit slow, then he figured it out and he kind of hit the ground running. Outside of the OKC game, which everyone fucking sucks against OKC, he has been kind of nails the entire season and like is just adapted so well to like, he legitimately probably is the rookie of the year frontrunner right now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, for sure.
And that is just something I never saw coming for for Khan as a rookie. I thought it was going to be like year 2 or 3. To me, I thought it was going to be like Devin Booker, where like he went to a bad team and like he put up numbers, but like, you know, like if you dug deep a little bit, it's like, all right, he's taking all these shots. What does it really add up to? The impact metrics don't like him. You know, Devin Booker, someone who really popped year 2, 3, 4 and started taking these gradual steps. Like Khan has been pretty much like a good creator. The shooting I knew was going to translate, but like the creation and the defense has been really impressive to me. And honestly, I think I might have even underestimated how good he can be, to be honest with you. Cause like I was always like, he might make an all-star team one day if like things break right for him. And now I'm like, oh wow, like is he just like a future all? And I'm happy for Hornets fans. A few people have been like, are you mad that the Sixers didn't draft Khan because he was your guy and blah blah. And then I'm like, honestly, like Hornet, like I love VJ first off, and he exploded out of the gate. And then second off, I was like, Hornets fans just deserve a W, dude.
Yeah,
like,
they need this.
There really has never, because the thing about the Hornets is that they're so irrelevant that we don't even talk about them.
No. Oh, and they're kind of fun this year. I mean,
yeah,
you know, like they had. It's very funny that like the Hornets kind of had the draft that like I wanted for the Nets. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, for your Celtics as well. Well, I went back and I rewatched our draft stream, and we were like, the Celtics should draft Kalkbrenner. The Sixers should draft Kalkbrenner. Like,
yeah, I loved. I mean, I did like Kalkbrenner, and I wanted him for the Celtics. But then I guess Demias Queta is just a defensive rating demon now for whatever reason. Like, I will say part of that is he's opposite. Well, but he's also opposite Luka Garza. Like, have you seen the on-offs for them? It is I haven't. Jokic. It's like Jokic and like that season where they had DeAndre Jordan. Like, it's incredible. Like the plus minus. You should go look at the adjusted like plus minus like stuff for the Celtics. Like when you get a second on Bleeding the Glass, it's really funny. Like the Queta stuff. But no, Khan has been. I always saw Khan as like kind of like a Derek White type guy, like but like offensively tilted, being like where he topped out. And he's looked. You were telling me he's got the creation juice. He's got some of this other stuff, and he's shown a lot of it early. I mean, he's been great.
I thought that was going to be something that like I thought he was going to come in and basically be like a Clay variant to start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
where
sure.
It's like oh, like his first year, like we're going to ease him in and like he'll make it. And then I'm watching him like drive to the basket, like know exactly where to go. He does these offhand layups all the time that he's like integrated into his game, and like once again, I was incredibly encouraged after the ACC tournament where I was like, this guy might eventually be an all-star-ish level player. And like, if you're this good this early and you just always prove people wrong, like I'm not going to put a cap on what you can be as a player, to be honest with you. Like if you're as good as Khan has been to start his career and a few of these rookies, to be honest, there's really no point in me trying to be like, oh, you can only be this or that. I wouldn't put him in no box. So, all right. Are there any other? See, most of these, I think that this is also partially us. I think we've kind of put in people's minds. I think the league is going to be way higher on Anthony Davis than like NBA podcasts.
Yeah, we're kind of doing the Dunked On thing where like Dunked On like has their players that like I remember listening to Dunked On years ago. I've probably said this example on the show before, but like they would always talk about how teams should trade for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope because they liked him. Like, and it was just like such an outsized thing of his value. And they were correct, to be totally clear. Like he was like a player you should target, but like, yeah, I'm just sure someone's going to look at Anthony Davis like, hey, man, this guy was like one of the
I saw another Hornets trade in the Discord where it was like Grant Williams, Josh Green, Miles Bridges. And I was like, I mean, if I'd rather just not trade Anthony Davis. Like,
I mean, the one I came up with was like Vooch.
I have that. I have another one. Someone right here just said Vooch, Zach Collins, Kobe White, and a first round pick for Caleb Martin and Anthony Davis. That's the person who just commented, sent this into the Discord. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that it would need to be like, so yeah, something like that. You know, I had basically that in like a different way.
So the first round pick that was sent in here is via Portland. So that's lottery protected in the 2026, 2027 drafts. I'll be honest, I wouldn't do this if I were the Mavericks. I know we talked about before, like Vooch, like having this really nice start to the season, and like I get that like he would space and stuff, but like Vooch is like 33, and
Sure.
like I'm like, once again, like Kobe White's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's also a free agent after this upcoming year, and like you have to make a decision on that immediately. He would be a good fit with them, to be clear. I'm just like, I think if I'm trading Anthony Davis, I either want to get someone I think I can pair with Flag, or I want to go the opposite direction and take on the worst contract I can possibly get with draft picks.
Yeah. I think when this actually happens, it will be a 3-team trade, and
It has
it'll
to be.
something that like we're not thinking of, like where somebody is getting like something else, like instead of it being a challenge trade, like Trae Young is going somewhere and somebody's getting stuff or something like that, like
I actually, you'll never guess who sent this one to the Discord. Guess which fan base this team roots for, or this guy roots for. Anthony Davis and Najee Marshall to the Sixers, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, and Eric Gordon and the Clippers first round pick in 2028 to the Mavericks.
Yeah, it's hard to tell who comes out on top on that.
I will say the Clippers 2028 pick definitely has value, but also like if I were another team, I would be worried about trading for that pick, because it's like, what if the Clippers just blow it up right now and then they have 2 years to build a good team, and they always figure out a way. You know what I mean? Like they're never like, this is the first time that they've been one of the 10 worst teams in basketball. They're never one of the 10. They're usually mid and sometimes good.
Yeah.
And this is the first time where like I would wait. Now look, this year's Clippers pick, that should have value. Next year's Clippers pick, maybe 2 years from now, I'm optimistic with the Sixers with the 2028 and 2029 picks, but I don't know how to gauge their value at all. Like I'm just like,
more than 2 years out, it's really hard.
I also just wouldn't want to, like, I kind of want to just keep that pick and hope that's the lottery ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wouldn't trade it right now. Yeah. No, wait and see what it is, like, and know what you have, know what that draft is going to look. We don't know what that draft is going to look like, like it. I think it's worth knowing, and if you do get the pick and you look around and there's guys there and you want to add it, like, great. I don't think there's a reason to do it too early. Like, everybody's chilling.
You're going to love this one. Nick sent this in and said, I feel like it's impossible to know what AD's value is. But this feels dumb enough. Anthony Davis to the Kings, Domantas Sabonis to the Mavericks, Dario Saric and Devin Carter to make the money work. Challenge trade.
I hate that. I really hate that for everybody involved.
It's gross. It's one of those trades where it's like,
it's on its face realistic, but like I really hate it for everybody.
Gross.
Yeah.
Everyone we did kind of made me feel a little dirty, but it was like Cooper Flag with Sabonis, Cooper Flag and Lively. Here's Sabonis.
Like, come on, man.
Get ready to learn dribble handoffs, buddy. Like,
well, the one I did kind of, I will say I did kind of like, I did kind of, the idea of Kobe White and Vooch on a team. Well, I just want to develop Cooper Flag. So like the idea of Vooch and Kobe White with Cooper Flag, I was like, oh, it could get kind of fun for him for like a little bit. Like,
it's so funny because I said you just got to move on from the Luka trade, but I just think about how much suicide I would want to commit if I were like, we had Luka a year ago and now we have Nikola Vucevic and Kobe White. And by the way, no disrespect to them as players. I'm just like, I have to divorce my brain from that if I'm making a trade.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
it's just
your sunk cost fallacy. Like you're sometimes your GM does a little too much booger sugar one night and it gets a little away from you, allegedly. Parody, satire.
It's absolutely out of hand. All right, so I'll read one more. Actually, you know what? We'll throw Jonathan a bone because his was so absurd that I feel like I have to read it. We probably should save it for Trade Machine War Crimes. Okay. But I did. I don't know if I bookmarked this one. Yeah, because like we got like a Ja Morant and Zach Edey one, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that if I were the Mavericks. Hold on. I'm sorry, not the Mavericks, the Grizzlies. I don't see a point in trading for Anthony Davis.
No.
All right. Jonathan's trade. was Jonathan, I can't find your trade, bud. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find it right now. It was truly a trade machine war crime. If you want to link it in chat, I can try to do it. I got all right, here's another challenge trade. The Pelicans get Anthony Davis, the Mavericks get Zion, Sadiq Bey, and Jordan Hawkins.
God, well, I think did we do this one? Because I remember distinctly thinking about the idea of Zion and Cooper Flag on the same team and being like, they're the same guy, kind of. Like, just like one is more of an athlete and like more of a wild card, but they play kind of similar, like a little bit. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's the Duke #1 overall pick. I mean, look, the Flag is definitely more of like I think his long-term potential is like more of a perimeter-based player.
He's probably not as much of a creator as Zion is right now.
Zion is just he is strictly a post-paint player. He has just never developed the part of his game where he's going to be able to create. He can create from the outside, but he's just not. He doesn't shoot. That's not in the cards for him, I don't think. And I just, once again, the Pelicans are never trading for Anthony Davis. Although I don't want to put it past Troy Weaver to do a I'm coming home. Let's save the franchise and bring home the franchise icon, Anthony Davis. Here we go. All right, I found the Jonathan's trade. Okay. All right, so the Mavericks get Emmanuel Quickley and Jakob Poeltl. The Clippers get Anthony Davis. The Raptors get DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard. The Kings get RJ Barrett. And the Timberwolves get Chris Dunn in a second-round pick. So many homecomings here. And then also just like spiritual homecomings, RJ Barrett on the Kings.
He does like belong to be a King. Like Rudy Gay, he really is kind of Rudy Gay for like this generation. Like,
wow, that's such a good one.
Yeah, like he is spiritual. They don't play identically, but he is spiritually Rudy Gay, like in a lot of ways. Like,
yeah.
So, that I really hate that, Jonathan. Good job. That makes me so upset in so many ways. Like,
also with the way that the Raptors are playing right now, like they would just never like. They finally got the vibes feeling kind of good. They would just never make a trade like this. I mean, I to be clear, I know they're not trading for Kawhi Leonard and DeMar DeRozan, but if you were to, even if they were trading for Anthony Davis, they wouldn't do it, is what I'm trying to say.
Could we maybe we do a deep dive on this? I want to know what the fuck is going on with Toronto, because like I did a calculator rat review of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of unimpeachable and a little bit bulletproof that they're good, which I just reject out of hand. And I don't know what to make of that because I've never watched them. Like,
I can't believe you're doubting Demon Mamu.
I mean, I am
he's legitimately changed their team. Like, not even a bit. Like, I know that. Like,
I know. Like, I love. I love Mamu. Like, I loved Mamu.
Scotty's had a renaissance. Quickly starting to look more like his old self right now. Ingram had like multiple great defensive plays down the stretch of last night that I was like, what the fuck?
Is it just that Ingram is trying now? Like, is that like?
Well, I think it's a combo of like Ingram's healthy. He has a normal team around him. And as we've always said, Ingram is in that bucket of like the great equalizer guys where like if he is on your team, you're going to have like, and he's relatively healthy. You'll probably have you'll be kind of mid, but maybe sometimes good in an East. Once again, the reason why I made the Kings comp from a few years ago is like weaker conference, right?
Yep.
Youngish upstart team. A lot of guys in their prime, which I think is underrated. Like the thing that I keep taking is like if guys are young or in their prime, they tend to perform better in the regular season, it feels like recently. And they have a lot of guys that are just like squarely in the middle of their athletic prime, like 25 to 30, basically. They don't have a lot of old guys in their rotation. And I do think that that's a bit of a way to farm regular season wins. So right now,
but I'm saying like their point differential and all the metrics.
All right, do you want to hear?
Yeah.
In the 232 minutes that Sandro Mamukelashvili has played so far this year, they have a plus 14.7 net rating. In the 440 minutes that he has not played, they have a minus 1.2. So they are perfectly mid when Mamu doesn't play. And when Mamu plays, they are legitimately killing teams.
This is it's amazing that my meme shit like
Mamu,
like my Mamu thing is coming to pass, but in a way that also is destroying me because I've positioned myself as the anti-Raptors like.
Yeah, this is the Big Short for you, basically.
Yeah, it really is. Like this is a like
no, this is the game. This is the GameStop short, I should say.
Yes, it really is.
You shorted everything with the Toronto Raptors. And by the way, I want to say this is such a funny team. Before we wrap this up, this is such a funny team that they are a team that coming into the season, I said I think they're going to be a scrappy play-in team, make the 8 seed, right?
Yeah.
The first weekend of the season, one of my main mulligans was like, their defense is just too bad. Yeah. They're not going to. And then immediately they won 7 of their next 8?
They're cooking right now. Like, I want to watch them. I'm going to start like watching them regularly because I'm like they're the team. Everything else kind of like makes sense to me in the NBA except them. They're like the net rating shit with them is insane, dude. They're like 6th.
It's crazy.
Like, I don't like that's like cleaning the glass numbers. And that's not like fucking like I don't know. I have to know. They're like the number 1 story in the NBA for me right now, to be totally honest.
We'll talk about them more a little bit. Yeah. Dean on draft bump. He definitely was behind the Mamu signing because he's worked for them. Comrie Boyles, although he's been in and out of the lineup, I think, but he was certainly part of that pick, I think. And then Darko's weirdly enough, Darko, who I thought was just kind of like a shitty coach. Yeah. He has all these like out of timeout stats that like they're like the best in the league with ATOs. Like
interesting
sideline passes.
The like, pizza party timeouts are cooking now. Like
apparently this is just completely now. Keep in mind, it's been 12 games, right? 12 games, 13 games, maybe
something like that. Yeah.
I do think that they are certainly better than I even anticipated, even when I thought they could be like a middling, like fun playing team.
Yeah.
But I need to see a larger proof of concept for sure. Like I need to see like for a full season. I mean, honestly, Ingram's health is like crazily important to them now, and he's been someone who's always dealt with health issues. I'll say this much: if they're competitive and like still pretty decent by the time the deadline rolls around, I wonder if they make a win now trade just because the East is like they maybe think they can win a playoff series this year.
Maybe like
something to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
I still don't know if all these guys fit together is the thing. Like their net rating stuff is like if you put their lineups together, it's like they're like outside of the Sandro lineups, like the Mamu lineups, they're still like losing minutes in certain combinations.
I'll say this. I will not be signing a Bobby Webster apology form. I won't do that. However, I've taken it off the shelf. I have it in a folder. Okay. It's on my desk.
Amazing.
It's out of sight. It's under a paperweight on my desk. Okay. Like I've taken a look at it. I can't let Zach Lowe get away with it, dude. I can't let Zach Lowe get away with it.
Well, the Sixers are playing the Raptors tomorrow night, and Joel Embiid is listed as doubtful. And Paul George and Kelly Oubre. Well, Kelly Oubre has been out, and Paul George is out already. So I'll probably be screaming about the Toronto Raptors on the Patreon episode later this week because I don't feel great about our chances in that one. But we will see. Yeah, apparently Mickey Mouse March is real now. Giddy, Raps, Blazers, Bulls.
Let's see.
We'll see. Maybe we've been owned.
Well, I'm again not signing the Bobby Webster apology form, but I did print.
Hold on, let's dig in deeper. Not real November. Yeah. Deceptive December.
Yes, yeah. Joker January. Jester January.
I have no idea what to come up with for January.
Fugazi February.
Yeah, we know that one. That one's Aladdin April. We've already come up with this.
Aladdin April. It's really
we're going off the Mickey Mouse March.
Joking January. JK January. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. All right. We'll be back later this week.
16 minutes. Look at that.
We're the only NBA podcast that does this, folks. Thank
Trill
you.
and I, we've established Trill and I each, our war is 1 hour. Combined, we're 2 hours every game.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
Peace.